Hi, Brandon.
Hi, Brandon.
One of my partners.
What's going on, brother?
Nice to meet you.
Alright, let me give you my card first before I forget.
Okay.
I can't remember the case number to write on it, but I think your mom has the case number already anyway. Let me just get some info from you first. Can you spell your first and last name for us?
BRANDONSANDS.
Alright. What's your date of birth, Brandon?
9/21/98.
And what does that make you?
I'm 20.
Alright. Do you have a middle name or anything?
Yeah, it's Taylor. Tailor.
Tailor?
Yeah.
And what's your home address? Is that the same as your mom's?
Yeah.
And just give me those numbers on Conifer.
8286 Conifer.
8286 Conifer Road?
Mm-hmm.
And that's Denver?
Yeah.
80221?
80221.
Okay. What's a good phone number for you?
720
Uh-huh.
419 6911.
Alright, do you work anywhere at the moment?
I work with my stepdad most of the time. He owns a construction company.
And that's Ricardo?
No, my stepdad. Christopher.
What's Christopher's last name?
Vigio. Vigio.
D-I-G-I-O?
Vigio.
Oh, Vigil, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know where I was getting that thing. Do you know his date of birth by chance?
I don't.
About how old is he?
So I think he's like 39.
Okay. And what's his address?
The same, 8286 Conifer Road.
Okay. And then, do you know a phone number for Christopher?
Yeah, 720 220 5283.
Okay. So you know that your mom already came in and told me roughly what happened.
Yeah.
I just kind of want to hear it from you.
Yeah.
If you can kind of let me know what went down that day.
Yeah. I was pissed about it, honestly. So me and Tay, we've been friends for like a long time, and she was originally my ex's friend first, but me and her became close. But every time she gets a boyfriend, she kind of gets like distant. So I hadn't seen her in a really long time because she had this new boyfriend that I guess she was doing really good with. His name's Kevin, and so I hadn't seen her forever, and she was in jail for a while. Well, she got out, and she was supposed to be doing good, and that was the last I heard from her. Well, she called me all of a sudden one day, and I had heard at that point that she was homeless and was staying at people's houses, but I wasn't sure. But she called me and told me that she was sitting outside and that she was cold, and she asked me to pick her up. And so I felt bad for her, and I went to go get her. She said that she had her dog with her, too, her little puppy. And so I felt bad for her, and I went to go get her. And so I picked her up. My mom was pissed because I was supposed to be home already. She ripped me a new one. And so I told Tanya, I was like, I need to go home, like, ASAP. I was like, I can give you a ride to somewhere that you need to go, like someone's house or something. And so I asked her if she has anywhere to go. She told me no, but there's someone that told her that she can go over there if she brings food or something. Like, she said that she has to have something to offer. So I was like, okay, and so she asked me to stop her at a store so she could buy food. She said she had money. And so I was like, okay, well, I stopped her at the King Soopers. I told her she needs to hurry up. I'm not going inside because I need to hurry. And I told her if she's not done within like 10, 15 minutes, I told her I'm leaving her. But so I sat there waiting for her, and I sat there for a while. So I started playing music in my car, and my dad's car is pretty loud. But so I was sitting there, and I saw Tanya walking out by herself. There was no one following her or nothing. I didn't see nobody. But so I was sitting there, and then she comes around to the other side of my car. But before we got there, she told me that she was kind of scared, or I don't know, she said she's scared or she's just worried about going in there because her ex-boyfriend, house is like right there down the street, supposed to be, his new girlfriend, who they don't like each other, works at the King Soopers, she said, or she's always there, shops there or something. But so she was kind of worried about seeing her. So I was like, okay, well, I was like, do you want to go to different King Soopers? She said no. So she goes inside, she comes out by herself, so I thought she was fine. Well, then that's when she gets up to the side of my car, and I didn't realize what was going on at first because I was just looking straight ahead and I was just listening to music. Well, I look over because she's trying to get in the car, and so I look over and I see her and another lady there like yelling back, like I can tell that they're kind of like arguing, but so I was like didn't know what was going on, but I didn't want to let her in the car right away, but just in case. So I rolled down the window to see what she wanted, and that's when like I turned on the radio a little bit, and I could just hear them yelling back and forth at each other, and so I just assumed that it was her ex's new girlfriend, and I thought they were like about to fight or something. But so she reaches in the car and she's like yelling for her phone, and I was like, I don't know where your phone's at. I was like, I don't have it. Well, so then she grabs something and it was purple, and she pulls it out, and I just assumed it was her phone with the phone case, and so she pulls it out of the car, and I was like, dude, I was like, I was like, I'm not sitting here for this. I was like, I need to go. I was like, I'm sorry. Well, I was like, let's go. I was like, either you're going with me or you're not. I was like, because I'm leaving right now. Well, so that's when, like, the lady started backing away from her, because I started rolling up the window, because I told Taya, I was like, I'm not dealing with this right now. Well, I started rolling up the window. Well, then I see the lady, like, backing away from Tanya, and she goes around to the back of my car. Well, so I was like, I didn't try backing out. I put my car in reverse because I was going to try to back out until she got behind it. So then that's when Tanya finally hops in the car. And I was like, dude, what the hell? Like, I'm like, let's go. I'm like, I need to go. I'm like, why is she standing behind my car like that? And so Tanya wouldn't tell me anything at first. Well, the lady, I rolled out my window, and I'm like asking her to move. She's yelling out that I'm trying to run her over. And I'm sitting there like with my hands up in the air. I was like, I'm not trying to run nobody over. And she was like shouting to this like older man, and he's like trying to get in his truck. She's like, sir, can you stay here and watch this? She's like, because he's trying to run me over right now. Da-da. And even the guy was like, he started laughing and shook his head because he knew I wasn't trying to run her over. So I told Tanya, I was like, why is she doing this? I was like, I need to go. Tay gets out the car, and she moves the buggies from in front of my car finally. And so she hops back in, and I left. Well, that's when we get down the street, and I was like yelling at Tanya, telling me what happened. And she kind of thought it was like a joke, kind of thought it was funny. And so that's when she explained to me that she just got done. She's like, okay, I admit, she's like, I just went in there and stole a bunch of stuff, da-da-da. She's like, I'm sorry. And so I was like, are you serious, Tanya? I was like, why? And she told me she was hungry. So I was like, if you were hungry, why didn't you tell me? Because I had a couple dollars on me. I was like, I would have bought you food from McDonald's or something. Like, I was like, I don't know why you would go do that. And put me in that position, too, to not know what you're doing. And so, and I'll be honest, I have a charge already before from my ex who went inside the store to steal something also, and Tanya was also there. And I got in big trouble for it. It was like my first charge ever in my life, and I had like $20,000 warrant and everything. So Tay was involved with that. She's the one that ended up like giving my name and everything. So I was like, why would you go and put me in that position to get in trouble again like that? Well, so she was just like, oh, they're not gonna come after us. Da, da, da. Like she's trying to justify it. She's like, you're fine. She's like, me and Kevin used to do this all the time. She's like, and they would never come after us. I was like, dude, they have my dad's license plate number. I was like, what are you talking about? They're not going to come after us. So she's like, no, we're okay. We're fine. Da, da, da. And so I was just pissed off. I stopped talking to her. Well, we get back to where we're going, and then we left from there. And I wasn't trying to take Tay with me at that point, but I had to go pick up my friend from her boyfriend's house, who I left there. Well, she was like, she runs aside, and so by the time I got my friend out, Tay was running back outside and trying to get in the car, and so I was like, crap. I was like, I don't want you to come with me, but I didn't want to tell her that because I'm kind of too nice of a person. So I was just like, kept quiet about it and let her get in the car anyways. Well, so that's when like we get to my friend's house and all the way in Commerce City, and we came from all the way up in like, I don't even know, Littleton or something. But we got all the way back to my friend's house in Commerce City, and he goes inside. Well, Tay's sitting there asking me what's wrong with me and why I'm not talking to her. Well, I finally told her, I was like, why would you do that? I was like, this is my dad's car, and you know that. I was like, my dad's out of town right now. I was like, he told me not to mess up his car, not to do anything with his car. I was like, why would you put me in that position because my dad's, like, mean. My dad's a mean person. So I was like, my dad would never hit me or anything, but I'm just scared of him, just because he's loud. But so I was just like, why would you make me have to have problems with my dad? Well, so she's like, it's fine, he will never find out about it. So then that's when, like, I was like, no, it's not okay. We started arguing. Like, we both started yelling at each other. Well, she started throwing, like, low blows, like, mentioning stuff about, like, me and my mom and stuff. And so I was like, well, that's why you got your daughter taken away, is because of shit like this. I was like, you're a piece of crap mom. I was like, you claim that you love your daughter so much. I was like, but yet you've never done anything to get her back. We just were going off on each other. Well, that's when we get inside of my friend's house, and she's calling me a faggot and stuff, because I'm gay. So she's calling me a faggot and everything, and I turned around and I was like, that's a low blow, Tanya. I was like, you're really going to say that about me? Well, she started coming towards me first, and so I turned it away.
So I don't want to get into the, like,
Yeah.
I know from your mom that you guys got into some physical stuff up in Commerce City. You know, if you want to report that to Commerce City, you know, that's kind of on you guys. It's, because you're not a couple, it's not domestic violence, it's not anything else, so we're not concerned about it. I'm mainly looking into the stuff at King Soopers, obviously. A day or so later, did you guys end up going to a motel out in Denver, like Montbello, Denver?
Montbello area?
Yeah.
So, Tanya...
was that you and her were right there with your dad's car again?
Yeah, and so she finally, because, like, she would not find a place to go, like, at all. And so I kind of had her stuck with me in my car. And so finally this guy, who she was talking to for a little bit at the time, bought her a motel room and everything. Okay. And so she went to the motel room, and I went with her. Okay. But that's just because the only reason why I stayed around at that point was because I was trying to, like, keep her on my good side, because I told her, I was like, you need to admit everything that happened. I was like, you need to, like, if it comes down to it, I was like, you need to tell them everything, that I had nothing to do with it. And she agreed. She was like, okay, I'll tell them everything. She's like, da-da. So I didn't want to, like, piss her off, especially after that whole fight and everything. So I wanted to, like, make her think I was still best friends with her. So I was just hanging around her just for that reason. Okay.
And just so I'm clear, you know, you kind of switch back and forth between Tay and Tanya.
Oh, sorry.
Tay is Tanya, correct?
Yes.
And what's Tanya's last name?
Guile.
Okay. Do you know her date of birth?
I don't. I know it's in 94, I think.
Okay. I'll probably show you a photo before we leave, just so you can confirm if we're talking about the same person.
She's in jail now, too.
Where is she in jail?
Weld County.
Weld County? What's she in jail up there for?
Well, so what she originally got arrested for was they found heroin and meth, I believe, on her, and drug paraphernalia, and it was up in Erie. Okay. And but she has like 8 different charges right now.
All from the same incident, though, or different stuff?
Just for different things. But she has like 3 charges, I think, from this one incident. But that was just like a couple days ago that she got arrested.
Do you know what a bond is up there?
So she has multiple no bonds, and then she has like a $7,500 bond. I think it's cash only, and then she has like a couple more.
So she's probably not getting out anytime soon. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
All right. What's before she was homeless? Where was she living?
So she stayed at her dad's house until.
What's her dad's name?
Thomas Guile. Okay. But that was until Child Protective Services got involved and everything, and she wasn't allowed. She got her daughter taken away. Yeah. And then her daughter got put back into her dad's custody, so she wasn't allowed to be around. So he basically told her, like, she has to leave.
Where do they live? Where does Thomas live?
He lives now in Firestone.
Firestone? Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you know the name of the road or anything else?
I don't.
Do you know a phone number for him at all?
I have it in my phone.
Yeah. Do you have your phone with you?
Yeah.
Cool. And he's taking care of her baby at the moment?
Yeah.
Great.
Seven 629 8685.
All right. Is he likely to bail her out?
No.
No?
No. He's done it maybe once or twice, and it was only on, like, really low bonds.
Okay. Is that because he's done with her, or because he doesn't have the money?
He's done with her.
Okay.
He's a mechanic. He makes really good money.
Okay.
He's done with her. He was kind of trying to convince her because of her warrants before she just got caught up. He was the one that was trying to convince her to go in.
Okay.
But she's supposed to turn herself in on court.
If I went up to Weld County, do you think she'd talk to me?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, she's really hard-headed, and she like tries to put on this really hard persona and like F the police basically. Yeah. Like, but so I thought before that she was probably gonna tell the truth about everything, but she just told one of our friends the day before she went into jail. She told one of our friends basically that she cut me off because I'm fake and I make up nothing but lies about her and da-da-da and yeah, all this stuff. So.
All right. So going back to the King Soopers thing, a couple of details I just want to iron out. When she comes out of the store, what door does she first open in the car when she's trying to put the stuff in? And you said she was reaching in for a phone and stuff.
She was trying to open the passenger side, the front passenger side.
The front passenger side? And where was she putting all the things from the cart?
She wasn't able to originally. I thought that she was trying to hit the lady with the cart. So I thought she was trying to like separate themselves, like her from getting there.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the lady was like trying to take the cart from her or telling her she needs to give her the cart.
Okay.
So Tay was like pushing the cart at her.
Okay.
And like trying to hit her with the cart. But so Tanya ended up grabbing like one or two things only out of the cart and still hopped in the car with it anyways.
And what was that? I missed it, brother.
I'm sorry?
And what did you say? I missed the tail end of that sentence.
She ended up grabbing like one or two things out of the cart. That's it. And hopped in with it.
Okay.
So was the front passenger door open during this? Or was it still closed and you just rolled down the window?
It was still closed and I just had the window down, yeah.
Okay.
And then...
so you had the passenger window down, you're sitting in the driver's seat?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then that's when, like, after everything, like when the lady started backing away and everything, that's when I told Tanya, I was like, let's go now. And then she opened up the door. I unlocked the door and she opened it and then started trying to get in with the things that she grabbed.
Okay. And what about the phone thing? What did you say? She said she was reaching in for a phone or picked up something personal?
Yeah, she was screaming at me to give her phone. Where's her phone at? And I told her, I finally yelled back at her. I was like, I don't know where your phone's at. Like, quit screaming at me. I don't know where it's at. So then finally I think she had like her jacket or something on the seat, and she moves it over and grabs something purple. And it had like, I only saw it for like a quick second, but I think it had like a wrist strap thing, like a one that you would have on like the bottom of your cell phone, so that way it doesn't drop or anything.
Okay.
And then I just thought it was purple, and she was holding it kind of like a phone. But so I thought that was her phone originally, but then that's when she pulled it out or whatever, and she told me, she was like, "Oh, I just pulled a taser out on her," and I was like, "What the hell for?" I was like, "What's your problem? Like, why would you do that?" I was like, "Even as you stole something, okay, I get it." I was like, "But it's not like you just went and murdered somebody." I was like, "You don't gotta pull a taser on someone and threaten them for it and anything." But so she was kind of just like, "Oh, it's her fault. She was trying to attack me, da-da-da." And
when did she tell you about the taser?
So she originally told me like what had initially happened when I got like just a little bit down the street from there, but then I didn't know about the taser until we got all the way back to her boyfriend's house.
Okay.
And then that's when she finally told me, because I was like, "Why were you reaching for your phone anyways?" Because I thought she was like pulling out to call 911 or take a video of the girl just in case she did do anything to her, but no.
Did you know before this that she normally carries a taser?
So a long time ago, I had heard something about her having a taser, so I asked her, I was like, "Why do you need that?" And so she told me, she's like, "Well, I live on the streets," because she had been homeless before too, before she finally got to live with her boyfriend Kevin and became homeless again. She was homeless already before, and she was like, "Well, I'm homeless, dude." She's like, "You know how many people are out there in the streets, how many creepers?" And so I like kind of thought about it. I was just like, I guess that's right. I was like, I would probably carry protection with me too if I were homeless. So I knew about it way back then, but I never heard anything about it since.
Okay. So when she grabbed it from the seat, was she reaching through the window?
The window, yeah.
Okay, so the door wasn't open yet?
No.
Okay. The lady she was arguing with, she told us that she asked you for the taser and you handed her the taser.
I didn't even know where anything was at. My car was a mess because of the people that I had in my car. Like, everyone was disrespecting my dad's car, and so my dad's car was like destroyed. And so I had no clue where anything was. I didn't even know where my own phone was at the time. I was trying to call my mom, and I couldn't even find my phone.
Okay.
I had no clue where anything was at in my car.
Because the video seems to show you handing it to her.
I didn't give her nothing. I wouldn't have done that to begin with.
Okay.
That's scary.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, she's lost it.
All right. does she normally do heroin or meth, or what's her drug of choice?
So she was originally addicted to heroin, and then she started doing meth really heavily too.
Okay.
So
she's still doing both now, or?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I don't think I have anything else at the moment. I'll grab that photo for you in a minute. You got anything?
Yeah, I was just curious. What is that charge you were talking about earlier that you got popped with?
That I had. So I got charged with the theft charge, I believe. As a class 1 misdemeanor. All that I did though, I was out in the car while Tanya and her best friend Lekka and my boyfriend were all inside of Target. They told me Lekka and Tay were supposed to be going in there to do a return, and my boyfriend told me he'd be right back, he's going to the bathroom. So I was like, okay, whatever. And then as I turned, I saw Tanya's daughter, who was like 3 or 4 at the time, sitting there. I was like, wow, they just left me with the kid. So I'm sitting there babysitting her kid.
Have you already been charged on all this?
Yes.
Or have you gone through and pled guilty or
Yeah, I'm on probation.
Okay. All right. I didn't want to talk about it if it's still like a pending case or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So her kid was there. So her and Lekka ended up coming back out like 45 minutes later. So like, where's my boyfriend? I was like, oh, we don't know. We haven't seen him for like an hour. So I was like, wow, are you serious? Well, me and Tay started talking. We're like deep in the middle of a conversation, and I barely faintly heard someone yelling, but something just told me that something was going on. So I kicked open the car door, and I ran in, and you know how Target has like those 2 doors, like the automatic doors, and then you go through them, and there's like that little airway, and then you go through the second door. Well, as soon as I came in the front door right there, in the little airway spot, I see a dude in plain clothes sitting there kicking like his feet and covering his face and screaming and crying, and I see my ex sitting there on his knees covering his face and yelling. And so immediately my eyes were drawn to the phone that me and my family bought for him, and so I went to go pick it up because I didn't want it to get broken. And as I pick it up, he slips out behind my back. He just took off running behind me, and then that's when security bum rushed me. He was hitting me and everything and told me to get the F out of there, so I did. He told me that if I don't leave, he's going to charge me. I'm going to get charged with trespassing, all kinds of stuff, so I left. So they were trying to get me for, like, fleeing the scene of a crime. They tried saying that I assisted him. But so the reason why they were willing to drop my charge was because in the statements, in 2 different parts, the witnesses said that in one of them said I went in there and I assisted him to his feet, like grabbed his hand and pulled him up to his feet. And then another part said I went in there and yanked security off by their necks and pulled them off of him and held them while he escaped.
Okay. So I just wanted to get a backstory, a little bit of it, just to kind of see how it compares to this situation. But obviously you're a little nervous, and I can understand that. I think both of us can. And I think you've been pretty forthcoming, I would say. But the one thing, like, I'll just hit it again just real quick. It's, you know, King Supers and stuff like that, their parking lots and everything are just covered in video surveillance.
Yeah.
So everything seems pretty normal, what you're saying, and kind of lines up, it sounds like. But the handing of the taser situation, can you speak on that a little bit more? Maybe you issued a statement that wasn't quite true the first time, in regards to her. What was she yelling for her cell phone? Was she saying, "Where's my taser"?
No, she was yelling for her phone. She was asking me where her phone's at, and I just told her, I don't know where your phone is at. I didn't see her phone. I looked around for a quick second for her phone, but it wasn't there. I couldn't find it, and so I didn't know where her phone was at. So then that's when she started reaching on the seat for something, and then grabbed the taser. I didn't give her nothing. I didn't even know that she had a taser at that point until after the fact. But yeah, I didn't even know it was in the car either. I would have let her in the car with it, honestly, because I wouldn't want to get caught with that to begin with. I don't even carry pocket knives. Like, it's just a big thing with me. I don't like weapons. It's bad. I think that she's crazy, honestly, for doing it.
Right, I don't know. It's just kind of hard to dispute, what the video shows. So I don't know why that seems conflicting coming from you. But if that's your statement, then that's what it is.
Let me grab the photo,
Okay.
just so I know for sure we're talking about the same person. I forgot to bring it in with me.
Okay.
Do you need any water or anything at the moment? You all right? All right. Be back in a second. All right. First. So, just so you can't see any of the written information. Do you recognize that person?
Yes.
Who's that?
Tanya.
Does she also go by Tay?
Yes.
All right. Has her last name Guile?
Yes.
Cool. Done. And then the taser, did it look, which one of those did it look closest to, or did it look totally different? Did it have like a gun grip on it or anything?
It kind of looked like this, but it had a purple strap.
Okay. But it was as square as that as opposed to a curved like this?
Yeah, it was more squared, yeah.
Okay. So you think it looked pretty close to this one?
Yeah.
All right. So, if you don't mind just stepping up here and just initially in that for me. And today's date is the 4/5?
Initially or signature?
Either, whichever you feel most comfortable with. And it's 4/5 of 19.
You got an A-lister signature there.
So I don't think we have a whole lot else. Like my partner said, the only thing that seems a little contradictory is the passing it through the window thing. After having a few minutes, is there anything else you want to say on that? All right, she reached in and grabbed it, is what you're saying? Mm-hmm. Okay. Like I said, the clerk said you handed it to her.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to understand, did you hand her anything that she might be confused about, or was there any...
I don't even think she was, like, where she was standing at. It was, like, right where my windows, my dad's back window and front window, like, they have that, like, divide in the middle with the, like, black part that you can't see through. That's, like, I'm pretty sure that's, like, literally where she was standing at. So I'm pretty sure she only heard Tanya yelling for me to give her her phone, and then must have pulled out the taser, so she must have thought that she was yelling for me to give her the taser, and I handed it to her. I don't know.
Well, the video seems to show you leaning over and handing her something too.
Yeah, no. Only thing I did was, like, on her seat, I just reached over and, like, I was looking for her phone. That was it. But I couldn't find it. That was all.
Okay.
But I didn't hand her nothing.
Were you putting your hand on the seat when she was reaching in or something, or what?
Yeah, because she was, like, trying to throw stuff around and look for it, and she was yelling at me at the same time. So I was, like, looking in my center console area and, like, looking on the side
both
of
your hands were down on that front seat at the same time? Okay.
Yeah. But, I was looking, like, down on the side of the seat because I was, like, I figured maybe it dropped on the side of the seat or something.
Okay.
But that was it.
Okay. All right. So your hands were both basically on the same front passenger seat as she was picking up the taser. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was more, like, on the side of it, though, like, towards the center console still.
Okay.
But, yeah.
All right. Is there anything else you want to tell us while you're here?
No.
Anything we forgot to ask that I should have asked or that I should know?
No.
Okay.
Other than maybe, I don't know if this matters, but Tanya also goes by her cousin's name, Tony.
Tony?
Yeah, it's a girl. Tay says that they look identical to each other, and so every time she gets pulled over, she tries to use Tony's name, and she's gone away with it, like, multiple times, but this last time she tried using it again, so she got criminal impersonation.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she uses Tony with the same last name?
I don't know the last name.
Okay.
I can't remember what it is, but I just know it's her cousin. They look exactly like her. Her name's Tony.
Okay.
Yeah. So
and when she goes by Tay, is it T-A-Y?
She spells it T-A-Y-Y.
T-A-Y-Y.
Yeah.
Okay. Just to be cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Either that or she'll call herself Tay Cray Ryder.
Tay Cray.
Yeah, like T-A-Y-Y, then K-R-A-Y-Y, and then R-Y-D-A.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have anything else?
Just really quick, I know we're beating this horse to death. Like I said, I feel like everything you're saying matches up kind of perfectly with the victim's account of what occurred, which is good because it makes you look like you're being honest with us. Generally, in our experience, victims can be confused sometimes, but generally they have no reason to say something that's not true. Right. They're just reporting a crime to the police, and they're like, hey, this is what happened. It seems to me that reaching down to the seat at the same time is probably a reasonable thing that you're explaining. I don't know necessarily, I'm not calling you a liar, I just would like for you to be like 100% with us. that I believe that she was yelling, phone, 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 I need my phone, when the victim isn't saying that. It was very clearly something else she was yelling, when they don't have a reason to tell us anything other than what they heard and saw.
I understand that, but there's been times, too, when me and my ex, like, got in an argument one time in a parking lot, and we were just yelling at each other, and the lady that was there, who witnessed it, she said that me and him were hitting each other in the face and everything else, but when the cops got there, me and him were both perfectly fine.
Okay, yeah, no, and I'm not saying anybody's 100% truthful, you know, people get confused. I just really, like, everything else seemed to match up really well, and I just, that part I was like, man, I don't know, maybe, I get you would have reservations saying that, but it's better a lot of times, you know, to just be 100% right off the bat, so then, you know, if this just does come in front of a jury or a judge or something like that, they can go, hey, he owned it right up front, and we didn't have to pry and yell and scream and act like good cop, bad cop, or anything like that.
Yeah, I understand.
So that's all.
All right. Like I told your mom, and like I told you when you first got here, you're free to go. You know, it'll take me a while to go through everything and figure out what we're doing. You know, and like I told your mom before, and like I told you, there's a strong likelihood you're going to get some charge out of this for being involved. What that's going to be right now, I don't know. But that phone number we have for you, is that a good phone number still?
Yeah, that's my cell phone number.
Okay. Are you planning on changing it anytime soon?
No.
You're going to be living with your mom for the next little while?
Yeah.
Okay. And I made your mom this promise, I'll make it to you. When we get to the point of, you know, any kind of charges or whatever, I'll give you a call, let you know, give you an opportunity to turn yourself in. If we can do a summons, we'll just do a summons, and then you don't have to go to jail at all. Depending on what it is, if there has to be a jail part of it, I'll give you a call, let you know, I'll give your mom a call, and say, hey, here it is, this is what the bond's going to be, and that way you can turn yourself in, your mom can have the bond ready, and you don't have to get picked up in the middle of the night, and be at the weekend or stay, you know, a couple of days. So I'll give you that courtesy either way. If we can make it a summons, we'll do it that way. If not, if it has to be a warrant, and sometimes it does have to be, but I'll at least give you the call, let you know, and if you can get it taken care of, come in on a early morning on a weekday, you can only get out within a couple of hours.
Okay, thank you.
So
I always turn myself in. My mom won't let me. Every time she finds out more, like the next day or the day after that, mom's turning me in.
Yeah, like I said, I'll call you, let you know it's coming. It won't even be a surprise.
Okay.
So sometimes there might be a day or two delay between when it gets issued from the court and when I get notified, because they're not always the best at letting us know when that stuff gets issued. But I'll try and keep on top of it and let you know.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for me at the moment?
No.
All right. You got anything?
No. Thank you.
Yeah. Appreciate you coming in, all right? Thanks a lot.
I'll
Get you back downstairs through those doors. All right. And to the left again. Good.